Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to talk about my research from chapter 1 to 3 regarding how using online dictionaries affects English speaking students' usage of newly learned words. Now I have a question. Have you ever looked up words online? So let's say your friend says something, then you like, what does this word mean? So you take on your phone and you look up the word online. Usually we use Google. So Google provides the definition according to the Oxford Dictionary. So yeah, fun fact: Google uses uh, Oxford Dictionary to define words when some Googles. So that is the gist of the research. So, fine, sorry. So, let me explain to you the history of the research. The research is situated within the education and language learning industry, mainly applied linguistics, focusing specifically on the integration of digital tools, which is the online dictionaries, such as to enhance English students' acquisition. So, what does it mean by English acquisition here? It means that students will receive lyrics would they use it on the conversation. Let's move on. Now in our first variable, the first three variables, which is the independent. These are weapons to use to find out regarding this issue. First one is the frequency of online issue use. So whether or not an average English speaker student use online dictionary will look up words online, okay, when faced with curiosity regarding the meaning of the words. Second, we have students' motivation in utilizing the dictionary. So motivation means they they are they willing to spend some time, some energy to look up the words, whether it be spontaneous or contemplation. So there you go. And third one is student willingness to use of it. So willingness and motivation are two different things. Motivation means their inclination to use the dictionary already exists. Now, whether we want to know the degree of their inclination, whether they want to use it strongly or weakly, but willingness means would they use it? Then we move on to the dependent variable, which is likelihood of using newly learned words. So this is the end goal of our research. We would like to know whether students they would use these words or not. What are the likelihood? Let's move on, shall we? To the next point, which is the proposal. This is the proposal that I have presented. And let's see the gist of this proposal is basically how likely are students first and foremost would use online dictionaries. Yeah. So the definition of online dictionaries used by Zare and Miriam in 2015 and also Kao in 2022 are quite interesting because they would define the online dictionary as search engines. For example, Google's Yahoo, okay, and would would usages of these platforms help students to communicate better, use new words, and would this help them in their English acquisition if they are EFL student, English or foreign language? Uh, okay. Furthermore, students' motivation and willingness to use online dictionaries significantly influence how effectively they engage in vocabulary learning, according to new 2019. Without a deep understanding of how factors like frequency of use, motivation, and willingness affect vocabulary application, educators may struggle to guide students towards a more creative language learning strategies. Let's move on to the research objectives and questions. Okay, so my research objective and questions are very interlinked. They are very linked together, basically. So my research objective is to examine the relationship between frequency of online dictionary use and the actual usage of newly learned vocabulary with students, meaning would their frequent use of dictionary and their ability to use or their inclination to use words that they just learned in English have any correlation whatsoever. And if they do, how? And if they do, how much and why? Second research objective is to investigate the factors that influence English speaking students' likelihood of using vocabulary learning through dictionaries. Let's move on to the research questions. that are quite interlinked with the research objective. But the last question, and let me get into it. So, what is the relationship between the frequency of online initiatives and the application of newly learned principle students? Same as the research objective. The second one is what are the factors that influences speakers likelihood of using vocabulary learn through dictionaries? For example, are they affected by their own passion towards the English language? Or is it motivation? Or is it willingness? And then the last question is what is the relationship between students' motivation levels and their application of newly learned vocabulary? Meaning, we want to know how much motivation plays a part in students' likelihood to use the newly learned language in their daily life. Let's move on to the research. Sorry, literature review. So the literature review uh, for my topic uses a lot of previous researches, obviously, to define important notes and key elements within the research. For example, for online dictionaries, Liu, Kao, and Zhang uses a very, I would say, flexible term of online dictionary, especially Kao in 2002. Kao 2002 mentions that online dictionaries are just not simply just dictionaries, but also sorry, but also search engines. And then we have application of new words, which is directly involved with my independent variable. Account to the grade mentions that students often struggle to apply new words after looking them up, according to the research, because they were researching Saudi Arabian student, so they would know. Sorry, they want to know how does this apply to them. And then we have the independent frequency of online dictionary, according to Power again, helps comprehension but not always application. So it helps with students understanding words, but sometimes not application. So here today, we would like to know. We understand according to Power, it helps with comprehension. So we would like to know about the application. So thus, understanding the word help with the application. And then we have dependent variable application of newly learned words. According to 2015, active usage depends on practice, but not just dictionary observation. Let's move on to the conceptual frameworks at work. So, my independent variables are highly influenced by these conceptual frameworks. These theories, first and foremost, which is the theory of planned behavior by Azim, 1993-1995, that explains that certain motivation and willingness to do something would affect the behavior of someone. Basically, it means that if you are willing to do something and you have the motivation to do something, you are most likely to do it. Second, the motivation engagement outcome, meaning it's just the same as the theory of planned behavior. However, it's more toward motivation and engagement. So if you have the motivation to do something and you actually do it, then it would affect your outcome, your behavior, and also your actions. And then last but not least, technology acceptance model by Davis and Knight, which explains that technology is detrimental, is essential to the growth of education. Technology acceptance models argue that technology is very much needed in education, not just inside classroom, but also outside classroom. In this context, we are talking about the outside classroom. Uh, so, and then depending variable, which is the likelihood of application of learned words, are very much interlinked with these three theories. And then our research methodology, research design, we are for research type. Research population are students who use English. Simply methods, we use the convenient simply methods and sample size around 150 students. And then, last but not least, we have our section. Section A for the respondents background. Section B for my independent variables. And then section C for likelihood of application. Basically, the then that's all for me. Thank you so much, and may all peace. Assalamualaikum.